Hi, my name is Jerry Harper, and I'm going to talk to you today about tourism and natural disasters. I'm on the grounds of the Florida State Capitol. Florida represents tourism. Florida is the #1 destination in the world for tourism. Last year, Florida set a record for over 100 million visitors. Tourism is an $80 billion a year industry for the state. Florida is also known for natural disasters such as tropical storms and hurricanes. Other than that, Florida has been affected by fires, floods, tornadoes, and even in 2014 was affected by an ice storm that crippled the Panhandle. I'm going to talk to you today about 3 events of tourism being affected by natural disasters. The first event is in 2010. The Deepwater Horizon disaster spilled approximately 5 billion barrels of oil into the Gulf Coast. This affected us locally from St. George Island to the Emerald Coast, which included Panama City, Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola. The media made a perception that the Florida Gulf Coast was covered in oil. And people throughout the world seen this perception. The media even showed parallels of the Exxon Valdez disaster and of animals being covered by oil. But in reality, the extent of the damage to the Florida Gulf Coast was just small oil balls that washed ashore. So the true disaster of the Florida Gulf Coast was the media. Because of this disaster, the hotel industry seen a 60% reduction in reservations in a 3-month period. The second disaster I'd like to talk to you about is Hurricane Wilma. I worked logistical support in 2004 for all the storms that hit South Florida with the National Guard. I remember Hurricane Wilma in particular because South Florida, Miami, Port Everglades is the #1 port in the world for cruise ships. The infrastructure of South Florida was devastated by the flooding from Hurricane Wilma. It took approximately 15 days for power to be restored back to 6 million people. This affected the cruise line industry because they could not get their ships back in the port. But with local governments and support of the cruise line industry, they were able to get the large ships back within port within a matter of days. The third disaster I'd like to talk to you about is 2010, the volcanic eruption in Iceland. I was on my way home from Iraq and my plane got diverted to a small airport in Portugal. Not only my plane was diverted, but thousands of planes across Europe were also diverted. This was due to the ash in the sky. This affected tourism because in Europe, there's many examples of tourists being trapped at their destinations. Not only in Europe, but this happened across the world because planes could not fly. This disaster affected the airline industry more than the 9/11 disaster on September 11th was minor compared to the disaster of the volcanic eruption in Iceland in 2010. This affected the airline industry and cost the airline industry approximately $200 million a day. I would like to say that natural disasters affect tourism differently on each occasion. These are just a few examples of this. Thank you for watching my video and look forward to your comments.